Thanks for tuning in. I welcome you for a physics lesson. This time round I'm doing a Form 1 physics lesson, a topic called heat transfer. The word heat is not a new term. We've had heat, we've had temperature. Actually, heat and temperature are related words. It is heat which results to increase in temperature and decrease in heat, which leads to a decrease in temperature of a given body. Now, we can say heat is the type of energy which flows from one body to another due to temperature difference. We can just record that heat is the form of energy which flows from one body to another due to temperature differences. So if a body A, for example, is at 60 degrees Celsius temperature, and we have another body B here at a temperature of say 30 degrees Celsius, there will be net flow of temperature. Heat will be from the body at a higher temperature to the body at a lower temperature until the two bodies achieve a common temperature. You may find at the end of it, they will both settle at 45. They will both settle at 45. So you'll be finding that at the end of some given time, body A and body B will be both at 45 degrees Celsius, and at this common temperature, there will be no net flow of heat from one body to another. Therefore, generally, heat is the form of energy that can flow from a body to another, which is at a lower. So that is generally what we call heat. At the same time, we can say that increase in raises the temperature of a body. The temperature of a given body or a given object. So when you hear people talking of temperature, they mean the hotness or coldness of a body, which is now due to the heat energy contained in the given body. Therefore, the more the heat in a given body, the higher the temperature it you have. Therefore, the coldness or the hotness of an object is due to the quantity of heat contained in a given body. So with that, we can check at the modes of heat transfer. The modes of heat transfer, which are 3 modes of heat transfer. How does heat travel or move or flow from a body to another, and why? The 3 main modes of heat transfer are conduction, convection, and radiation. The first 2, they require medium to take place. Heat transfer by conduction and convection is where a medium is involved, but for radiation it can take place through a vacuum. Vacuum is an empty space, a space without any matter, any state of matter. It can be transferred or it can be transmitted through such a medium which is not having any state of matter. So we call it radiation. So to be specific, conduction, this one is transmission of heat through solids. This through solids. And for convection, this is transmission of heat through fluids. And fluids is collectively both gases and liquids. So when the word fluid is mentioned, we mean both gases and liquids. Therefore, heat can be transferred by conduction, that is in solids, and by convection, which is in gases and liquids. The other mode of heat transfer is radiation, which is taking place in a vacuum. So we can briefly check what conduction is. We can check what conduction is. Conduction of heat. When we talk, what we really mean and what entails conduction. We can start by conduction. We have said this is the mode of heat transfer in solids. Transmission of heat in solids. Transmission of heat in solids. These are general demonstrations. I know you've ever tried to stir some hot stuff using a metallic spoon. And when you do such, after some time you experience heat or some warmth at your hand. You are stirring a hot stuff using a spoon and you experience some hotness on your hand. That is what we call conduction of heat. Here you are having your hot sufuria here. Then what you are holding is a spoon, and once you dip it here, your hand is here, your hand is here, this is a spoon, the hot stuff is here. So once you dip in the spoon, which is metallic, heat is going to affect only the hand here. But now, due to what we are calling conduction, heat will be from this part to the other parts of the spoon, and that's why after some time, then your own hand will also experience some warmth. So that is what you call conduction. Generally, for solids to conduct heat energy from one point to another, this is what happens. How conduction takes place. How conduction occurs. It's either due to vibration of atoms, and the other is due to free, also called electrons. So atoms in the structure of a spoon, once they get heated here, they vibrate, and once they vibrate, they affect the vibration of the neighboring molecules. If we say these are molecules, for example, so once these molecules, which are in contact with the hot stuff, get heated and their kinetic energy is increased, they vibrate. Once they vibrate, because the molecules in a solid are closely packed together, then because they are vibrating, they affect the neighboring, and the neighboring affects the intermediate ones, the neighboring to them, and the trend continues until the whole solid is affected by the vibration which is caused here. Therefore, the vibration which is caused by increase in kinetic energy at one point where heat has affected initially, the effect is transferred by the mode of transmission by vibration of atoms. As they vibrate, they affect the neighboring. They also vibrate, affecting their neighboring, and the trend continues until it is transmitted up to the ends of the given solid. Now, metals have what we call free or mobile electrons. It is these particles called electrons which, when heated or when their heat is increased, they can move. That's why we call them mobile electrons. They can move from one part to another. It is their movement now which causes it transfer, because when they are heated, they move together with the heat. Therefore, you find that in the process of them moving, due to increased kinetic energy, they move along with the heat which they have received, and by such a movement, then they transfer the heat to other parts of a given solid. Therefore, that's what basically we call a conduction. So we shall continue, and in the next lesson I'll be explaining the factors which affect the conduction of different solids, because the rate of conduction for solids is not the same. We'll be looking at various factors which can result to the variables of heat energy. So thank you very much for following.